Hello and welcome to Wild Works and Wonders, as I decided to call this channel. My name is Christian Wild, and I decided that maybe the world does need another bearded guy making weird robots. Um, I just made this one, and this time I just kind of wanted to try to make a robot from my imagination. I wanted to make a dramatic pose. I wanted to make something that could be kind of a kind of a sentry, because I have this old idea for a comic book that I never got around to make, called Tales from the Hive Craft. I was kind of inspired by some ideas about this generation ship going through the cosmos and um, breaking down. There, this is not original in any way, but my idea was that it could be kind of fun to make this kind of patchwork comic book where you just told one separate story per comic book. And I never really got around to doing it. So I thought about doing some YouTube videos and then putting these builds into this hive craft. My idea is that the hive craft left Earth many generations ago, and there's humans on it, but they are kind of few, and most of them live in the kind of high up in the hierarchy, and it doesn't really care much about what is going on deep down in the lower levels of this giant ship. And down there, the AI has kind of taken over and fused humans and robots together in some ways. And I think that this could be kind of a sentry robot that patrols the hallways down deep in the craft. I have this idea that while it's making its way through the cosmos, it sometimes enters some places in space where the fabric between dimensions is kind of weak, and when it goes through these patches, weird stuff comes out from another dimension and kind of infects the ship. And as I said, the humans in the top levels don't really recognize this. They are doing well because the old systems are just sending all the good stuff top wise, but down in the basements and the lower levels, the AI, the robots, and the few humans kind of need to fight all these weird monsters. So I think that could be a kind of cool setting for making some different kind of builds and putting it into this setting. It's not very developed in any way. It was just an idea to kind of put some kind of story around the build. So this guy is a sentry, and he is ready to fight some interdimensional beings if he meets them in the corridors. But he's also kind of beaten up and kind of old, so maybe everything and his weaponry doesn't work as well as it should be. So if you want to see how I built him, keep watching, and I'll narrate that in just a few moments. I started this build by gathering some roll-on deodorants that I keep littering our drawer in the bathroom. My wife really doesn't like that. But I kind of like the shapes, especially the round piece of the roll-on deodorant, the handle, because it has this kind of shoulder pad pauldron-like quality to it. So I've been saving those for years, and I'm really bad at throwing things away. So I thought that could be a quite nice way of doing the robot. And I found this square block piece of plastic, and I decided to use the cap from the deodorant as the main body of the robot. I'm just sanding it so the super glue will grip a little better. And then I start to build up the robot body. I'm using a trick to glue the shoulders onto the cap by using this craft foam as a way of getting a bigger surface area for the glue to grip, because the plastic is quite flimsy and doesn't have much grip where the handles touch the cap part of the torso. Then I decided to put this light fixture plastic fitting on top. My main idea was his head would be on top of that, but I quickly decided against that because it would look a little bit weird. Then I decided to once again put the robot on a cigar box and use a coat hanger as armature wire. I like the aesthetic of putting a sculpture on a cigar box. I really like that look, and I don't know why. Here I'm just fleshing out his legs by this adding this piece of plastic. I think it was some kind of handle that I cut up in two pieces, and here I'm just removing a little bit of material so it fits onto the armature wire a little bit better. Then I took these caps from some kind of nasal anti-congestion spray because they seem to be nice boots for the robot. They have this conical shape, and I thought that looked quite nice. Here I had a really bad attempt to use my saw to do this, to cut a slit in the thing in the cap, and ended up using this Dremel bit instead, because that worked much better. The saw thing was a disaster. Almost cut my fingers off. It kind of needs a little bit of hot glue to stay on the wire inside, so I just poured a lot of hot glue into the boots, and that worked very well. Then I had this construction kit in plastic that has this technical aesthetic to it, and I really like that, as it's especially making joints and details on the arms and legs, because it has this technical quality to it. So here he gets his kneecaps, and a little bit later on I add a lot of different tube shapes onto his legs, and onto his feet. I found this bag of some kind of magnetic construction kit in a thrift shop, and it had a lot of tube shapes and a lot of magnets on it. So while I was working, it's not in the video, but they kept sticking together and clinging together because of the magnets. Then I fleshed out his legs, because I wanted this kind of piston-like quality to his legs, because he's a robot and he's strong and he can move fast. So I just built up his legs with these different kind of tubes. Then I used the another part of the nasal anti-congestion spray as his upper arms, and then I decided against doing hands and just put on some cannons, some ray guns, because he's a sentinel. He works in the basements and the lower levels of the hive craft, where he protects the ship against these interdimensional beings. So he needs a lot of firepower. So I also ended up putting a big cannon on top of his body, and then I made his head protrude from his chest using this cap from a toilet cleaner bottle, and just ground it into shape so it would fit, and then put this little socket in front, and it gives him this kind of hunched over quality that I really like. I think the pose is really strong in this robot build. Now I'm just detailing a lot of craft foam so he can look like he's put together by some different kinds of metal sheets, because he's old. He's been walking the hallways of the lower levels of the craft world for generations, and he needs repairs. Later on, he's going to look quite rusty, but right now I'm just making all these details with the craft foam. I like that aesthetic, that it's not symmetrical, but it's like patchwork of sheets of metal that just got riveted on wherever he needs them when he goes for repair. Then I put a metal ball bearing ball in the socket as his one eye, and when I did it, I thought it could be cool if it kept its kind of shiny quality, but later on when I primed the robot, I just decided to paint it instead. Then I use a lot of wooden beads as details, greebling the robot up, and some of them will be used as kind of sockets for some tubes that runs in and out of his body in different shapes. And then I primed him. I didn't film priming him, and right here I really needed some energy drink. This is a Danish energy drink called Nail. That's kind of a monster copy, but it's good. It's a good energy drink. I needed that for doing all the paint work, and I sped this up, and it's still quite long because it's kind of boring to watch paint dry and watch people paint. But as I said earlier, he roams the lower levels of the hive craft, and his job is very simple, because sometimes weird interdimensional beings are materializing from thin air when the hive craft passes through these thin patches of space where the dimensions are closely aligned, and something slips through, and oftentimes it's dangerous. I think interdimensional beings are very dangerous, and I don't really know why, because why would they be? Are their dimension, is that a place of eternal war, or maybe they are just misunderstood? So when they come into our world and they just want to make friends, they meet this guy with 3 ray guns, cannons, and he just shoots them. But I think he has been on this job for quite a while, and maybe sometimes his cannons misfire because they are also a bit rusty. And maybe sometimes he experiences that the interdimensional beings really are very dangerous. So I think he shoots first without prejudice, and just not without prejudice, with extreme prejudice, and just blast the things to smithereens. I'm not entirely sure what smithereens are. It's not really a thing in the Danish language, I think. But I started with this base coat of burnt sienna as a rusty base for the rest of the build, and then wanted one of his shoulder pauldrons to be yellow, and actually I wanted it to be bright yellow, like a kind of a warning signal. Then I put some red in as accents because he has some kind of residue from his original paint job, which was red because it was a dangerous thing, so he had this warning color all over. I kept on putting yellow paint on the shoulder, and it just kept not being bright yellow, but the yellow or the blackness from underneath kept shining through. So I ended up actually making kind of a deal out of it, out of necessity, and I just kept it like this. Then I decided that he has a lot of this green stuff that oxidizes on certain metals, and maybe some mold and weird stuff is growing on him because he doesn't take good care of himself. He's busy patrolling the hallways, so he doesn't get washed up very often. Here I tried to dry brush some highlights onto him, and it kind of works, but and then I just decided a little more green stuff here and there, and a lot of small details, and I kind of like how it comes together as we are approaching the end of this video. I think that he's pretty cool. Actually, like this build. So as a last thing, I decided to put a little bit of details in using one of my acrylic paint pens. It's not a Posca pen, but it's like a discount Posca pen. I wanted some kind of insignia, some chevrons, because soldiers have chevrons. I have never been a soldier myself, so I don't know what they mean. But and then I used the Posca to make some kind of oil drips here and there from his body, and doing a small amount of details. And then we have the beauty shots here in the end. If you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you want me to build something else, whatever, something you think could be cool to see, then throw it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.